This is the OTB Network.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Horses and Courses. I'm Jean Wood. We had a weekend of racing that was affected by weather throughout the eastern part of the United States into the Midwest. Unfortunately, weather conditions that were not particularly pleasant prevailing and having a bit of an effect on the racing. We are going to start things off, however, down in Calder. Even down there, showery conditions prevailing as Florida Million Day was contested. We are going to bring you 3 stakes from that program, beginning with the Bonnie Heath for Florida-bred older horses going 1 1/8 miles on the turf for $150,000. Let's head down to Calder now for the Bonnie Heath for Florida-breds.
And they're off in the Bonnie Heath Turf Cup. Toward the inside, that's Sir Brian Sword moving for the lead with Swift Replica at the hedge, now gaining the advantage. It's Sir Brian Sword back to second, length and a half to the outside, Trooper Red. 2 lengths to the hedge, that's Stay Forever. Outside of her comes Marquette, then a length to the outside, Miesque's Approval, and in tight quarters at the hedge, it's Stokowski. They come past the stands and head for the clubhouse turn with Swift Replica in front by 1.5 lengths. Sir Brian Sword's in second position to the outside. Trooper Red is next. Then to the inside, it's Marquette. At the hedge, it's Stay Forever. Length to the outside, Miesque's Approval. And a length back, it's Stokowski. First quarter in 24-2, and they move to the backstretch. Swift Replica leads by 1 length. Sir Brian Sword under snug restraint is second, a length to the outside. That's Trooper Red third. Then it's a length back to Marquette, half length to the outside, Miesque's Approval. Then it's another length back to the inside, Stay Forever, with Stokowski alongside. They went the half in 49-2. They leave the half-mile pole and move to the far turn. Swift Replica trying to make it a wire-to-wire victory, leads by 2.5. Sir Brian Sword's in second position. To the inside, Marquette, then Trooper Red. Miesque's Approval finds room between horses, comes on next. Then to the outside, it's Stokowski. Toward the inside, Stay Forever. They went 3 quarters in 1:12-2. 1/4 mile to go in the Bonnie Heath Turf Cup. Toward the outside, moving for the lead, that's Sir Brian Sword with Swift Replica at the hedge. Another length to that back, Miesque's Approval comes on. To the inside, it's Marquette. They come to deep stretch. Sir Brian Sword, Miesque's Approval on the outside. At the rail, it's Swift Replica. Then to the outside, Stay Forever. They come to deep stretch. It's Sir Brian Sword with Miesque's Approval. Miesque's Approval takes the Bonnie Heath by a nose. It was Sir Brian Sword second. A length to the outside, Stay Forever was third.
Miesque's Approval picking up a victory, a 3-year-old colt that at the end of last year really did look like a potential superstar in the making this year, has had some setbacks, but returns with a very nice effort here down in his native Florida, getting a head bob victory over Sir Brian Sword, who may have been just a bit disadvantaged by a stumbling start. He did get up and contest the pace after that bobbling beginning, but may have lost just enough ground to cost him the race to the odds-on favorite. Stay Forever rallied from off the pace after running nicely inside horses. He did have some steadying trouble leaving the backstretch, angled out and solidly closed into the 3rd spot. The winner, Miesque's Approval, is a bay 3-year-old son of Miesque's son from Win Approval by With Approval. Bred by the Live Oak Stud in Florida, he is owned by Live Oak Plantation, trained by Bill Mott, and ridden to victory by Jerry Bailey. Miesque's Approval completes the 1 1/8 miles on the turf course, labeled good, in 1:48-1. We're going to head back to Calder next for the Elmer Hubeck Distaff for 3-year-olds and up, fillies and mares at 1 1/16 miles. The distance, or the purse here, $200,000, again for Florida breds. Let's head back down to Calder now for the running of the Elmer Hubeck.
He's back remounting, ready for a start. And they're off in the Elmer Hubeck Distaff Handicap. On the inside, Seamist moves for the lead with Celis Shiraz toward the inside. Then toward the far outside, that's Castlebrook moving up. Sarah's Success is between horses, moving through toward the inside, Tonight's Wager. A length back, it's Redoubled Miss, and 2 lengths to Cool by the Pool. They move around the clubhouse turn. Sellers Shiraz on the inside leads a half length. Castlebrook forces the pace second, length and after Sarah's Success. Another length to the inside, it's Tonight's Wager. Then a length to the outside, Redoubled Miss. It's 2.5 lengths back. Cool by the Pool and Sea Mist race as a team about 8.5 lengths off the lead. They went the first quarter in 24-2. They straighten out for the run up the backstretch. Past the 5/8 pole, Sellers Shiraz with a short lead. Castlebrook intense pressure from the outside. 2 lengths back at Sarah's Success. Then at the rail, it's Tonight's Wager. Length to the outside, that's Redoubled Miss. Then 3 more lengths to Cool by the Pool. A length and a half to Sea Mist. They went to half in 48-3. They leave the half-mile pole and move to the far turn. Castlebrook on the outside with Sellers Shiraz at the rail. It's another length and a half back. Tonight's Wager moves up toward the inside with Sarah's Success. Another length and a half back. It's Redoubled Miss. Then 3 more lengths to Cool by the Pool. Another 3 lengths to trailer Sea Mist. Field moves toward the quarter pole now. They went 3 quarters and went 13-2 with a quarter of a mile left to go in the Elmer Ubeck Distaff Handicap. Toward the inside, Sellers Shiraz. Sarah's Success looms boldly on the outside. Between horses, it's Castlebrook. They move to the 8th pole. Sellers Shiraz still has a short lead. Sarah's Success on the outside with Castlebrook. Rallying at the rail, it's Redoubled Miss to the far outside. Cool by the Pool. They come to deep stretch. On the outside, Sarah's Success has reached the lead. Sellers Shiraz, Cool by the Pool on the outside. Cool by the Pool is up in time. She takes the Elmer Ubeck Distaff Handicap. Close to the place between Sarah's Success and Sellers Shiraz.
Cool by the Pool, and Julio Garcia picking up a neck victory over long shot Sarah's Success, who ran very nicely with the pace 4 wide at 26-1 as favored Sellers Shiraz picks up the 3rd spot with a front end effort here. She was the favorite heading in. She had been very competitive against nice fillies on the main track as well as on the turf throughout this season, but perhaps the effects of a long season catching up with her as she did weaken after running quite nicely into the final furlong. The winner, Cool by the Pool, is a 5-year-old bay mare, a daughter of Notebook from Courtly Attire by Candy's Gold, bred in Florida by Earl and Teresa Pierpont, owned by Town and Country Corporation, trained by Marty Wolfson, and ridden to victory by Julio Garcia. Cool by the Pool covers the mile and a 16th at Calder in 1:46-1. Next, we're going to head back to Calder for the Carl G. Rose Classic. Florida breds going for $200,000. The distance, a mile and an eighth. It's older horses. Let's head back down to Florida for the running of the Carl G. Rose Classic.
And they're off in the Carl G. Rose Classic. From the outside, Island Skipper breaks sharply and moves for the lead with Best of the Rest moving up toward the inside. Bog Hunter is next. Then toward the outside, that's Slippery Gator. At the rail, Dancing Guy. The early trailer is The Judge Says Who. They move into the clubhouse turn. On the outside, Island Skippers now come away with a length and a half lead. Second position is Best of the Rest. The length to the outside, that's Bog Hunter third. Then between horses, Slippery Gator with Dancing Guy at the rail. 2 lengths back, it's The Judge Says Who. They move around the clubhouse turn, head for the backstretch. The first quarter, 24 seconds flat. It's Island Skipper trying to make this wire to wire. Leads by a length and a half. Best of the Rest won't let him get away. Still right there second. Length and a half to the outside. That's Bog Hunter third. Then at the rail, it's Dancing Guy fourth. 2 lengths back to Slippery Gator dropping back. And at the rail, The Judge Says Who. They continue up the backstretch past the half-mile pole. With the lead, it's still Island Skipper by a length and a half. Best of the Rest looms boldly toward the outside. A length and a half to the far outside, it's Bog Hunter moving at the rail. That's Dancing Guy. 2 lengths back, The Judge Says Who leaves last place, and now the trailer is Slippery Gator. They went to half and 49-1, and they move to the far turn. Island Skipper leads by a length to the outside. Best of the Rest getting closer. A length to the outside, that's Bog Hunter. Dancing Guy. Then from between horses, it's The Judge Says Who. They move to the quarter pole now. On the inside, it's still Island Skipper. Best of the Rest looms boldly on the outside to get the lead. Then to the far outside, that's The Judge Says Who coming on. They move to the furlong pole. The Best of the Rest still leads by a length and a half. The Judge Says Who on the outside is second. Then at the rail, weakening its Island Skipper. Dancing Guy comes on fourth. They come to deep stretch. It's the Best of the Rest is the best of them all. They win it by 2. It's close for the place between The Judge Says Who and Dancing Guy.
Best of the Rest and Jerry Bailey, who took some time out of riding in the northern climes to head down to Florida, a little advanced scouting for the winter meeting down there. Picked up a pair of victories on the stakes card. heavily favored at odds on. Best of the Rest sits just off the pace of Island Skipper, was allowed to settle, stalking and drew clear by a length and a half, late charging the Judge Says Who had been scratched from the Bonnie Heath on the turf. He was entered in both, did close from well off the pace after a steadying start into the second spot, just getting his head in front of Dancing Guy, who ran a nice trip from just off the pace to just miss second. The winner, Best of the Rest, is a 7-year-old gray or roan horse, a son of Skip Trial from Obstinacy by Valid Appeal. Bred in Florida by B. Oxenberg, he is owned by Mrs. Oxenberg, trained by Eddie Plaza, ridden to victory by Jerry Bailey. Best of the Rest covers the mile and an eighth at Calder in 1:51 and 4. We're going to be heading north next to Laurel Park, where again we had rainy conditions prevailing on a stakes-filled day. We're going to start things off with the Hail Emperor for older horses at a mile and a 16th, running for a purse of $50,000. Let's head down to Laurel and take a look at the Hail Emperor.
And they're off in the Hail Emperor. Polish Pride and Native Air out there first. Native Air, but Polish Pride has some speed to the inside of Native Air into that first turn. They're going on. Clear from Marciano, 3 deep, and Dome Rider, and late running pickup speed at the tail of the field. Around that turn, it's a sharp Polish Pride who's on the lead, 3/4 of a length. From Native Air racing in the second spot. Marciano content to track the top pair, about 4 lengths in the front. In between rivals, Dome Rider and pickup speed is the trailer. Racing onto the 6 furlong mark. Good pace going in the sloppy going, and it is still Polish Pride holding that inside advantage from Native Air out there. In second spot, then it's Marciano. Third, 3 lengths in the front, pickup speed, Dome Rider. Racing past the 5 ace, Native Air, Polish Pride tries to counter that move back to the inside. Marciano's edging closer, third, a length and 3/4 in the front, Dome Rider in pickup speed. 5 of them all bunched up here, only 3.5 lengths, covers them a half mile out. Polish Pride by a head from Native Air, Marciano pickup speed, and Dome Rider last around the far turn. It's been Polish Pride and Native Air since the gates open. Pickup speed showing some interest in running on from that third spot. Marciano got to do a little bit better at this point. Marciano under the whip now past the 5/16 mark, seems struggling just a little bit, followed by Dome Rider there at the top of the stretch. Polish Pride has just put away Native Air. Pickup speed looks like the only threat coming through on the inside. Marciano's under a battle. Dome Rider is last, and they're into the stretch, a furlong and a half to go. And Santana wakes up Polish Pride, but Pickup Speed has something to say down to the inside for that final furlong. Polish Pride a length and a half. Pickup Speed is picking it up on the inside. Polish Pride wandering out toward the center of the track. Pickup Speed, one final try. Polish Pride still there. Pickup Speed. Polish Pride and Santana to pull off a front-running win in the Hail Emperor Stakes. Pickup Speed was second. Marciano was third in Native Air.
Polish Pride picking up the victory here under J.Z. Santana, showing good speed and holding on by a length over Pickup Speed, who was picking up speed late in the going but did fall short by about a length. He had 7 1/4 lengths on the third place finisher, Marciano, who found himself caught wide on both turns, about 3 wide both times in a short field. The winner, Polish Pride, obviously taking very nicely to the sloppy racing surface, is a chestnut 4-year-old son of Polish numbers from Fittingly Proud by Fit to Fight. He was bred in Maryland by Mrs. Frank P. Wright, owned by Mrs. Wright, and trained by Rodney Jenkins, ridden to victory by J.Z. Santana. Polish Pride covers the mile and a 16th in the slop in 1:45. We're going to head back to Saturday's card at Laurel next with the Salima Stakes for 2-year-old fillies at a mile and a 16th. They're going for $100,000. Let's head down to Laurel now for the running of the Salima.
And they're off in the Salima. Megan's Halo and Lady Echo came out running Making Heat. Extreme outside, Let's Just Do It. Going to get caught 5 wide around that first turn. My Mitch Grace Bay is out there. 3 wide. Heirloom Diamond saving ground with Prado. Galloping Dancer settles in between horses. Still out wide is My Mitch, who's 3 deep around the turn. Let's Just Do It, who was wider earlier on, dropped back third last. In tight early on was Mark Aim Fire. She's dropped out to last and now passed by Civility Cat. Racing up the backstretch, and it's Megan's Halo making the pace out there. Length and a half. Lady Echo the second spot. Heirloom Diamond rides the inside in third, and Making Heat is up close 2 lengths off that lead, racing fourth. Galloping Dancers kept close there, hustle along in fifth. Grace Bay 6, My Mitch is 7, 6 lengths off the lead. Civility Cat's been taken to the far outside in the 4-path past the 4.5 furlong marker. Let's Just Do It, and Mark Aim Fire is the trailer, bunching up a bit now, some 9 lengths from first to last, and Prado's got Heirloom Diamond right through on that rail. Megan's Halo is suddenly given way. Lady Echo's still there, Making Heat with a winning shot, extreme outside. Civility Cat about to take that 4th spot. My Mitch 5 lengths to close in. Grace Bay is riding the rail. Mark Aim Fire caught 4 wide on the extreme outside. Let's Just Do It. And dropping out to last is Galloping Dancer, 5/16 to go. And it's Heirloom Diamond sparring with Macon Heath. They're in a nose-to-nose battle. Let's Just Do It with an up-test chance on the extreme outside. Civility Cat is next. My Mitch battles along, followed by Grace Bay and Lady Echo. They're into the stretch now. Macon Heath, the leader by 3 to Let's Just Do It. Heirloom Diamond, Civility Cat is in 4th. Lady Echo is 5th. My Mitch well to the outside, next in 6th, and through the final 1/8 of a mile. Macon Heat and Mark Johnston fully extending Macon Heat, but onto the victory over Let's Just Do It. Macon Heat making all the money in Salima, and she'll score by 2.5. Let's Just Do It second. Photo for third, very tight there. Civility Cat, Heirloom Diamond, then Lady Echo.
Macon Heat now was 4 for 10 lifetime. She's been a busy 2-year-old filly, but quite a successful one. 7-to-1 price on her here. She sits a perfect stalking trip, 3 wide on both turns, and drew off in the slop. She certainly bred well to handle it, and she certainly enjoyed it. Let's Just Do It, picking up the 2nd spot from post position 10, showed no early speed. She too was caught wide. Obviously the wider parts of the racetrack, not necessarily a bad place to be. In the slop at Laurel on Saturday, Heirloom Diamond showed good speed, but she was down inside and came up a little bit weak as the second choice in the wagering. Favorite in the field was Mimic, who had just come in out of a maiden win at Keeneland. We did see her run and actually take quite a bit of money. She's a very nicely bred filly in New York, up here at Saratoga and at Belmont. She had shipped out of town to pick up the maiden victory in Kentucky. Went over there, picked up the favoritism, but really never got into the hunt at all. So hopefully she'll return with a little bit better form next out. The winner, Macon Heat, is a 2-year-old bay filly, a daughter of Macon, from Warmed by the Sun by Lobsang. She was bred in Virginia by Spencer F. Young, owned by Michael J. Gill and trained by John Robb. Ridden to victory by Mark Johnston. Salima Stakes winner Macon Heat covers the mile in a 16th in the slop in 1:47 and 3. We are going to pause now for a brief message, and when we return, we'll be finishing up with Saturday's card from Laurel. We'll also be heading to Mountaineer Park for the running of the Mountaineer Mile. Please stay tuned.
NYBreds.com, the online home of thoroughbred racing's best incentive program. NYBreds.com features sales and racing news, farm tours, articles by some of racing's top riders, the latest results, plus photos and streaming video of New York bred stakes races.
Here comes Critical Eye, and Critical Eye has won.
NYBreds.com has something for everyone. If racing is your full-time business, you want to see the leaders in both owner and breeder awards, and a list of stallion earnings courtesy of the Blood Horse. Racing fans will want to see the latest press releases from both Naira and Finger Lakes, plus contests where you can cast your vote for New York bred divisional champions, or even name a newborn foal. Want to take your interest in racing to the next level? NYBreds.com shows how being an owner or breeder can be both fun and rewarding. Thanks to the New York Breeding and Racing Program. NYBreds.com has it all. That's NYBreds.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to Horses and Courses. We're going to continue with Laurel Stakes card from Saturday with the Laurel Futurity, a grade $300,000 event at a mile and a 16th, a race that perhaps has lost a little bit of its luster in the days since the beginning of the Breeders' Cup. Once a championship deciding event, but now an interesting race nonetheless, as it features a number of horses, later developing types, on the stretch out. Let's head down to Laurel and take a look at this year's running of the Laurel Futurity.
And they're off in the Laurel Futurity. Albrook has won there. There goes Talkett, the favorite, with a good break from the starting gate. And Ironton's going to speed forward in Cape Good Hope. Moses Jerome settles back in fourth, followed by Mount Carson. Back to Dr. Phil, and Cherokee's Boy drops out to trail the field in 8 lengths in the front. Long shot Ironton going to take him past the 7/8 pole with a lead by 3/4 of a length. Cape Good Hope. And Talkett is tracking full of run there in that third spot, followed in fourth by Moses Jerome. And we go back to Mount Carson. Is taken back in between horses. Cherokee's Boy saving ground with Fogelsonger. 4.5 lengths in the front. Improves the spot or two, maybe now 3, as now here comes Cherokee's Boy up 4th on the inside, just 2 lengths from the front. Up the back stretch now, and it's Ironton well off the inside. Cape Good Hope. Tockett now seizes that opening and comes right on through to test the pace as well. Cherokee's Boy made the move, but now flattened out a bit, racing in 4th, followed by Moses Jerome and Mount Carson. Dr. Phil to tail the field. Racing past the half-mile pole, Ironton inside, Tockett forging right on through. Cape Good Hope is still right there, well 3 wide. Cherokee's Boy tries to get involved again from 4th, but got to do a little bit better at this point, followed by Mount Carson, Moses Jerome, and Dr. Phil, 3 of them right across. Tockett in a tussle with Cape Good Hope on the outside. Ironton running huge race in between horses, followed by Cherokee's Boy, still right there, 4 lengths in the front. They're at the top of the stretch, and Tockett just disposed of long shot Ironton. Cape Good Hope on the outside. Tockett, Ironton there, 2nd, and now back to 3rd is Cape Good Hope, and they've got a furlong to go, and Cherokee's Boy's on the inside, running on to try to get that 3rd money, but no doubt about the winner of the Laurel Futurity. Tockett's giving them something to talk about. Tockett at the 16th pole, 5 lengths clear. Ironton, Cherokee's Boy running on late again. Tockett with Jorge Chavez to win by 4.5 or 5 to capture the Laurel Futurity in its return to the Laurel Stakes schedule. Ironton was 2nd, and 3rd was Cherokee's Boy, followed by Cape Good Hope.
Tockett coming in out of a very disappointing effort in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, in which he was forced to break from the outside post position, a post position that was widely acknowledged to be a terrible disadvantage, goes off as the heavy favorite at odds on and picks up an easy 6+ length victory over Ironton, who was the early pace setter. Tockett sitting just off of him after a little bit of a bumpy beginning, made a nice inside bid and drew clear. Cherokee's Boy picking up the 3rd spot with an off-the-pace rally after breaking outward, not getting off to a particularly good start, but finishing fairly solidly at just over 2-1. The winner, Tockett, of course, the winner of the Champagne earlier this year in New York, is a 2-year-old bay colt, a son of Awesome Again, of course, a Breeders' Cup Classic winner himself, who has really gotten off to a very good start this year. Tockett is out of Cozine's Angel by Cozine. He was bred in Kentucky by his owner, Dan Barlow. He's trained by John Scanlon and ridden to victory by Jorge Chavez, who is well known for his good performances on sloppy racetracks. Tockett covers the 1 1/16 of the Laurel Futurity in 1:46 flat. Heading back to Laurel next for the Stefanita Stakes for 3-year-olds and up, going 7 furlongs. This is fillies and mares. Let's head back down to Laurel for the running of the Stefanita.
And they're off. Kimberlotta just a step slow. Persian Silver was the first to respond. Hunka Hunka, Lori Z's right there. Winterleaf and Abundantly Blessed. And Urban Dancer racing up on the inside. Now 5 of them ride across the track as they actually shoot onto the main portion of the track. Shop till you drop. And we go back to Kimberlotta, and Belle Artiste is the trailer and some 9 lengths off the lead. Winterleaf is pressed on both sides. Abundantly Blessed is on her outside, and at the rail is Urban Dancer. Hunka Hunka, Lori Z is settled nicely into that 4th spot. Break of a length and a half. There's Really Silver 5th. Shop Till You Drop next in 6th. Kimberlotta racing 7th within striking range, about 5 lengths in the front. And Chavez is asking now Belle Artiste. She's last still, about 7 or 8 lengths off the lead. Belle Artiste trying to run on from her customary back of the pack position. With 3 furlongs to go, Winterleaf, Abundantly Blessed, Hunka Hunka, Lori Z racing up there 3 wide. Followed on the inside by Urban Dancer. Belle Artiste, no option but to come 5 wide. Shop Till You Drop, followed by Kimberlotta. Persian Silver has dropped out to trail the field. They're at the top of the stretch, and Hunka Hunka, Lori Z is opened. Hunka Hunka, Lori Z opens 3 lengths now. Belle Artiste rallies toward the center of the track. Abundantly Blessed is drifting under a drive, followed by Kimberlotta trying to come on with a late bid to try to capture a minor award. And we back to Shop Till You Drop. They're coming to the final 16th of a mile, and it's Hunka Hunka, Lori Z, and she's got a burning love for an upset in the Stefanita Stakes to win by 3.5. Belle Artiste was 2nd, Abundantly Blessed, and Kimberlotta.
Hunka Hunka, Lori Z is now 4 for 9 at this racetrack. She loves this racetrack and she loves wet tracks. Nonetheless, allowed to go off at almost 12-1, sat just off the pace in a stalking position, was 4 wide on the turn, but pulled away to an easy 4+ length victory under Mario Pino. Belle Artiste, a very strong closing filly, unfortunately, as usual, leaves herself just a bit too much to do, makes a big rallying move, but just falls short. Abundantly Blessed sat in a stalking position throughout the early going at nearly 30-1, dueling wide Nonetheless, held on very solidly to pick up the third spot as the favorite Winter Leaf shows good speed before fading rather early, coming in off of two very nice consecutive victories. Nonetheless, perhaps didn't handle the sloppy going as well as some of the others and faded well back. The winner, Hunka Hunka Lori Z, is a 4-year-old bay filly, a daughter of Colonial Affair from Bunka Bunka by Raja Baba. Bred by Richard Golden in Maryland, she is owned by Mike Zanella and Charles Reed, trained by Ben Feliciano, ridden to victory by Mario Pino. Hunka Hunka Lori Z covers the 7 furlongs in the slop at Laurel in 1:24.4. Heading back down to Laurel for one more event, the Grade 1 Frank J. DeFrancis Dash. This race was moved from the wintertime into the late fall of the season, and it has drawn some pretty solid fields since that move. $300,000 Grade 1 6-furlong event. Let's head down to Laurel for the running of the DeFrancis Dash.
Off and running in the DeFrancis Dash. Thunderello, first to strike out for that early lead. Avanzato and Rusty Spur right there. Outstander also in between horses as he move up the backstretch now. And Boston Common is right there too. But it's going to be Rusty Spur just a bit faster now than Thunderello. Avanzato, Boston Common, Outstander racing down to the inside, just 2 lengths in the front. Sassy Hound moving forward, 3 lengths off the lead while 4 wide. Then we go back to Deer Run, and late running to Wildcat is the trailer. Rusty Spur cooked a quarter, 22 seconds flat around the far turn, and opens up on Thunderello. Thunderello suddenly struggling along. Thunderello something amiss there. Thunderello's dropped back in 5th. Here comes Sassy Hound, and Sassy Hound has made a run into the 2nd spot. Outstander's running a big race as well. Thunderello being eased up. Thunderello's eased up at the top of the stretch. Sassy Hound and Rusty Spur spar at the top of the lane with a 1/4 mile left to go. Outstander is next in line. The Wildcat starting to run on the inside after a half in 45, 1/5 of a second. Sassy Hound looking to become a big hometown hero. Here comes the Wildcat and Chop Chop Chavez charging through on the inside. The Wildcat, Sassy Hound, Deer Run on the scene very late, but it's going to be the Wildcat, the winner in the dash. The Wildcat, maybe Deer Run over Sassy Hound, followed by Outstander, then Rusty Spur, and we went back to Boston Common. Avanzato finished last.
The Wildcat finally gets that Grade 1 status that a lot of people felt last year he was certainly going to get. Unfortunately, he had to do so in a race in which that was marred by the distress of Thunderello, dropped back dramatically. He did apparently re-injure the suspensory that had kept him out of training for a year after his maiden breaker last summer up here at Saratoga, off a terrific effort in the Breeders' Cup Sprint, where he forced Orientate to run really the best sprint race of his life to pick up the victory. Thunderello comes back and weakens, was pulled up at the 3/8 pole, and apparently suffered a serious re-injury. Nonetheless, the Wildcat, a terrific effort from off the pace for this horse who had tried everything from sprinting to turf to miling and so on and so forth. Seems to have found a home sprinting here, picks up a very nice off-the-pace victory. The pace was there for him to close into, and as I've said before, Georgie Chavez, terrific rider, getting a horse to settle nicely and run well on off racetracks. Deer Run makes a nice strong move from off the pace to just get the second spot over Sassy Hound, who was involved in the pace every step of the way. The winner, De Wildcat, is a 4-year-old chestnut colt, a son of Forest Wildcat from Denuff by Deaccord, bred in Kentucky by the New Farm. He is owned by Fog City Stable, trained by Bob Hess Jr., ridden to victory by Georgie Chavez. De Wildcat covers the 6 furlongs in the slop in 1:10.4. Heading next to Mountaineer Park for the running of the Mountaineer Mile on Saturday, a flat mile for 3-year-olds and up, going for $100,000. Surprisingly, only drew a field of 5, a couple of scratches perhaps due to the muddy racing conditions. Let's head down to Mountaineer for the running of the Mountaineer Mile.
They're off. On the inside, Smashing Bow goes for the lead with Nature alongside. Moving up on the outside is Slider. Then Tour the Hive and Docent. They move around the clubhouse turn. On the outside, Slider puts the head in front. Along the inside, Smashing Bow is now second by 3 lengths. On the rail, it's Nature. On the outside, Tour the Hive, and then Docent. They head up the backside with 5 furlongs to go. It's Slider on top. Slider shows the way by a length. Smashing Bow right there is second by 3 lengths. And then it's Tour the Hive Docent and Nature. On the turn as the field starts to bunch up, it's Slider by a length and a half. Smashing Bow is second. Along the inside, Docent now third. Then Tour the Hive and Nature. They come to the top of the stretch. Slider has to lead a half length. Docent comes up along the rail to take over the lead. They now turn for home. Docent leads it by a length and a half, 2 lengths. Slider is second. Smashing Bow is third. Then Tour the Hive and Nature. Deep stretch, Docent opens it up by 6 lengths. Smashing Bow coming on second. Docent is in front.
Docent picking up a smashing 6-length victory over Smashing Bow, with Tour the Hive back in the 3rd spot. Docent taken back by Jeremy Rose in the early going, but made a quick move from the rail, winning very handily. Last seen running a solid 3rd in New York behind Snake Mountain in a very creditable effort in the Stuyvesant Handicap. The winner, Docent, is a gray or roan 4-year-old son of Waquoit from Dormier by Halo. He was bred by Bernard J. Daney in Pennsylvania, owned by Arlene Daney and trained by Tim Ritchie. Ridden to victory by Jeremy Rose. Docent covers the mile at Mountaineer in the mud in 1:38.1. We are going to pause now for another brief message, and when we return, we'll be taking a look at stakes racing action from Hollywood, Churchill Downs, and New York. Please stay tuned.
Here's the lineup of stakes action. At Aqueduct on Saturday, it's a Grade 2 $150,000 Red Smith. On Sunday, the Grade 3 $100,000 Valley Stream. Hollywood Park Saturday has the Grade 1 $250,000 Hollywood Turf Cup and the Grade 3 $125,000 Hollywood Preview. And from Churchill Downs on Saturday, it's the Grade 3 $150,000 Cardinal Handicap. Catch all the action this weekend.
By supporting NTRA Charities and its affiliates, you help horses stay safe and healthy before, during, and after their racing careers. You help the people and the communities that are home to NTRA member tracks and farms. And you help Ronald McDonald House Charities worldwide. NTRA Charities, serving our community and yours.
Welcome back, everyone, to Horses and Courses. We're heading to Churchill Downs next, where 3-year-old fillies contested the Mrs. Revere on the turf on Saturday's card, $150,000 for 3-year-old fillies. One of the last opportunities this year for the 3-year-old fillies to face their own age group on turf. Let's head down to Churchill now for the running of the Mrs. Revere.
Off and running in the Mrs. Revere. It's a good start. Stylistic out to take the early lead from Caught in the Rain in second. Bedankin flashing speed on the far outside. Hey-ho, howdy's down at the hedge. They're followed up by Caught in the Rain. Passing the stands, just over a lap to go. It's Stylistic leading it by an neck to Caught in the Rain up into second now, and Bedankin right there, third to the outside. Hey-ho, howdy cuts the corner at the hedge, racing in fourth place. Lust Soldier on the outside in fifth. Then first quarter racing sixth. Show Lady along the inside, saving ground in seventh. Jalea racing in eighth, and Natumbi to the outside is next, about 7 lengths off the pace, followed by High Maintenance and Mariensky at the back of the pack, 10 lengths front to back as they wheel onto the backside. The quarter in a moderate 24 3/5 seconds. It's Stylistic and Shane Sellers showing the way. A length and 3/4 in front now. Caught in the Rain second, then Hey-ho, howdy the long shot moves up into third. But Ankins in good striking range, just 2.5 off the pace, racing fourth. Lush Soldier to the outside of Mariensky now. They're followed up by High Maintenance next still on the inside. A couple farther back to Glia, who's just 5 lengths off the pace. They're tightening up around the turn. And first quarter in Natumbi at the back of the pack. Half and 50 seconds flat on that far turn. Caught in the Rain, poking her nose in front of Stylistic racing in second. But Aiken launching her rally now from third. Lush Soldier on the far outside. Then Hey-ho, howdy set down for the drive. High Maintenance is next in the stretch drive. It's Caught in the Rain. Shake it up and tackled by Bedankin on the outside. but Dankin and Don Pettinger pushing on by to take the lead. Caught in the Rain and Eddie King are game, and they're battling on the inside. And Glee is on the far outside, rallying on in deep stretch. Caught in the Rain, retaking the lead. Caught in the Rain, a huge upsetter. Caught in the Rain holds on to win the Mrs. Revere at 32-1 over Glee second, and Bedankin was third.
Caught in the Rain pulls off the surprise at 32-1. One of the longest shots on the board, picking up a neck victory over the favorite Glia. Glia did have to her side of the story. She did have a very rough trip, bumpy beginning, but a very nice effort by Caught in the Rain and Eddie King to keep her up there. She was forwardly placed throughout and coming in off of a very nice win right here in New York. Ships out of town, allowed to go off at long odds, and picks up the victory from the heavily favored Glia. Bedankin picking up the third spot with a nice effort. She was forwardly placed throughout, perhaps not caring for the yielding turf course. Nonetheless, ran a very solid effort to finish in the third spot. A horse that was making a big move on the turn but was caught very wide was Lush Soldier. I was watching her coming around the turn. Looked like she was going to make a big move and did come up a little flat in the soft going. The winner, Caught in the Rain, is a 3-year-old dark bay or brown filly, a daughter of Patientville from Jinger Feathers by Fred Astaire, bred in Pennsylvania. Another Pennsylvania bred picking up the victory in Stakes Company by the Casino Royale Farm, owned by Ron Perosi, trained by Guadalupe Preciado, ridden to victory by Eddie King Jr., Caught in the Rain, who was caught in the rain on the day of the Miss Revere, covers the mile in a 16th on the yielding turf in 1:46-1. Continuing from Churchill with Sunday's stakes feature, the River City Handicap, a grade 3 $150,000 event, going 1 1/8 on the turf course. Let's head back down to Churchill for the running of the River City.
Off and running in the River City. Moon Solitaire from the far outside. Foster's Landing to take the early lead, joined by Modigliani. Flashing good speed down at the hedge. Modigliani will set the pace past the stands for the first time. 3 parts of a length in front of Foster's Landing. Second, Gretchen Star came away third. And up the inside, Dynamo saves ground in fourth. Maysville Slew is tugging hard up into contention. Moon Solitaire's up on the far outside. They're followed by Certainty and Stage Classic next by 3. Roshinho, a half a length in front of Dr. Kashnikau and Pisces at the back of the pack. A good dozen off the pace around the first turn. It's Modigliani cornering wide, half a length in front of Foster's Landing, and the bug boy John McKee pressing and now putting a nose in front. Then a gap of 4 back to Moon Solitaire, tracking nicely from third. Gretchen Star fourth, Maysville Slew in fifth, Dynamo racing 6, Certainties in 7th. Stage Classic about 9 lengths off the pace, 2 in front of Roshinho. Dr. Kashnikau, the gray, is second last by 2, and Pisces at the back. Affen 47-3, midway up the backstretch they continue. It's still Modigliani just a nose to Foster's Landing, and still a gap of 4 farther back to Maysville Slew. Gretchen Star, Dynamo splitting horses. Moon Solitaire's in heavy traffic. There goes Stage Classic, revving up quickly on the far outside, going by Certainty now. Roshinho uncorks a rally, 4 back to Dr. Kashnikau, who's gearing it up, and Pisces at the back of the pack. They're bunching up as they run past the quarter pole. Gretchen Star from Dynamo, Foster's Landing set down for the drive now. Roshinho revving up on the far outside into gear down to the final furlong and a half they go. Gretchen Star set down for the drive from Dynamo second. Roshinho charging hard on the outside. Foster's Landing is hanging tough. Dr. Kashnikau from the back of the pack. Here comes Dr. Kashnikau on Roshinho. Dr. Kashnikau, Roshinho, Foster's Landing up the inside. Too close to call at the wire. Foster's Landing or Dr. Kashnikau in a head-bobbing photograph in the River City.
Dr. Kashnikau making it 2 in a row. In fact, has not won a race since winning the River City last year. Just gets there by a nose, and it was in fact a head bob with Dr. Kashnikau and Foster's Landing, who contested the pace, dropped back to about 4th or 5th midway on the stretch, re-rallied under rider phenom John McKee, and picked up the second spot as the longest shot on the board, 53-1. Rossino picking up a nice move after being far back in the early going, made a bold move 7 wide on the turn, did lead but did end up being passed, beaten by only a nose and a neck for the whole thing under Lonnie Mesh. The winner, Dr. Kashnikau, is a gray or roan 5-year-old gelding. He's the son of El Grand Senor from One More Breeze by Mythical Ruler, bred in Ontario by Stan Dodson. He's owned by the Erdenheim Farm, trained by John Fisher, and ridden to victory by Robbie Alvarado. Dr. Kashnikau covers the 1 1/8 on the turf at Churchill Downs in 1:51 and 2. Heading next to Hollywood Park, one of the few parts of the country where we didn't have rain prevailing throughout the weekend. And we're going to start things off with the Moccasin for 2-year-old fillies, $100,000 7-furlong event. Let's head to California now for the running of the Moccasin.
They're off. Perfect start. Watching You, Pusha Sacco to the outside, and Magic Smoke, and Atlantic Ocean attends the pace. Watching You is quickest. Tale of a Dream is the trailer as they hook up with the main track, and Watching You will set the pace. Magic Smoke pushed along by Chance Rollins to stay close to the front runner. Atlantic Ocean is pulling on Victor Espinoza, and she's 3 deep, about to take second. Pusha Sacco is just in behind the leader. She's 4th, but less than 2 from the front. Long Shot Tale of a Dream is the trailer. They're at the half-mile pole of the 16th running of the Moccasin Stakes, and Watching You has 2 at her heels, and it's the 2 favorites. To the outside, Atlantic Ocean, Pusha Sacco going to try to come through from the inside, and there goes Pusha Sacco with a bold move leaving the backstretch, and she puts a head in front of Watching You, who goes right with her, and now these 2 match strides. Atlantic Ocean has to quicken from there. She's pushed along now by Espinoza. 4 lengths further back to Tale of a Dream. Magic Smoke is the trailer, and they head for home. Watching You and Pusha Sacco, these 2 and 1-2 at the top of the stretch. Pusha Sacco's a neck in front. Watching You right alongside in second. Atlantic Ocean now has 4 to come. This is Pusha Sacco and Watching You to the final furlong, and Pusha Sacco leads 3/4 of a length. Watching You is second. Atlantic Ocean is third, and Tale of a Dream, and Pusha Sacco is clear, and Pusha Sacco has won the Moccasin. Pusha Sacco won by just over 2 lengths. Watching You is second, Atlantic Ocean third, and Magic Smoke finished 4th.
Pusha Sacco picking up her second consecutive California victory. In fact, a filly who's never been beaten sprinting, her only defeat coming when stretched out a little bit at the hands of Ivana Vinalot down in Florida, has taken very nicely to the California surfaces and made a very nice move on the rail to draw off by 2 over Watching You. Atlantic Ocean, who is a pretty big good-looking filly from Bob Baffert's operation, a very expensive 2-year-old purchase earlier this year. Kind of a one-paced third, no real impact at all. The winner, Pusha Sacco, is a chestnut 2-year-old filly, a daughter of DeHare from Salty Gal by Cox's Ridge. She was bred in Kentucky by Homer Noble and Gano Stable, owned by Richard Rowan, trained by Janine Sahadi, and ridden to victory by Mike Smith. Pusha Sacco covers the 7 furlongs of the Moccasin on a fast track in 1:21 and 4. Heading back to Hollywood next for the running of the Safely Kept handicap, $70,000, 5.5 furlong sprint on the turf. Let's head to California now for the running of the Safely Kept.
They're off. Perfect start. Wild Tickle and Harvest Girl break 1-2, and Wild Tickle is narrowly in front. Roly Poly and Gabrielina Joff away 3rd and 4th, and the early trailer at the rail is Party Pirate. They fly up the backstretch. Wild Tickle and Harvest Girl, these 2 match race at the half-mile pole, and Wild Tickle is a hard-fought half ahead in front. Harvest Girl is second by 4 lengths. Kent DeZormo has to be very pleased with his position on Roly Poly. He is 4 lengths behind dueling front runners, and Roly Poly eyeballs the leader. Gabrielina Joff has 7 to come. Party Pirate just inside of her, and they race to the top of the stretch in the 8th running of the Safely Kept handicap. Wild Tickle and Harvest Girl continue their battle, but they can hear the footsteps. They belong to Roly Poly, who makes her move, and here she comes, draws within 2 of the lead. Party Pirate a length behind her, then Gabrielina Joff, Wild Tickle, Harvest Girl, Roly Poly. Party Pirate needs a way through. Gabrielina Joff, Wild Tickle, Harvest Girl, and Roly Poly, and here comes Roly Poly to get the money. Roly Poly has won it. Roly Poly under a perfectly timed ride by Kent D wins by a half length. Very close for second between Wild Tickle and Harvest Girl.
Roly Poly and Kent DeSormo. Mr. Frankel nearing a record, and he is bringing out a lot of big guns, including this filly who picked up a nice victory by a half a length, sitting just off the very quick early pace in here, and getting by the dead heating Wild Tickle and Harvest Girl to pick up the victory. The winner, Roly Poly, is a 4-year-old bay filly, a daughter of Mukadama from Rare Sound by Rarity, bred in Ireland by M. Parola, owned by the Wildenstein Stable, trained by Bobby Frankel, ridden to victory by Kent DeSormo. Roly Poly covers the 5.5 furlongs on the turf course at Hollywood in 1:03 flat. Heading back home to Aqueduct next for a pair of weekend stakes races, beginning with the Long Island Handicap, a Grade 2, 3-year-olds and up. Fillies and mares going a distance of 1.5 miles on a very, very soft turf course. Let's head down to Aqueduct for Saturday's running of the Long Island.
And they're off. Sunstone, and there goes Forest Princess, who's sent out to take the early lead. Rum right with her, and on the far outside, Moon Queen very eager to go on early. There's room at the inside for Blonde Dancer to move on through, and Blonde Dancer is aggressively ridden in the first quarter mile here. Then Sunstone down toward the inside, racing in 5th. Nepenthe is close to the pace 6th, and it's another 2 lengths back to Mo Juste, who's followed by Sulk, who was off to an awkward start. Toward the inside, Wooty, and they're followed by Peanut Gallery, and Uriah at the back of the pack in the early going here. So they make their way into the stretch for the first time, with Forest Princess establishing a clear lead. Rum alongside 2nd. Down toward the inside, Blonde Dancer is racing 3rd. Nepenthe is comfortable, while down toward the rail in 4th position. Then Moon Queen, still a little keen, 5th on the outside. 1.5 lengths back to Sulk and Sunstone, followed by Mo Juste, Peanut Gallery, Wooty, and Uriah remains the trailer. The half went in 53 2/5 seconds over the boggy going here, and there's 1 lap left. The field moving into the clubhouse turn. Up top, Forest Princess still leads. Rum alongside 2nd. And then it's Blonde Dancers, 3rd toward the inside, saving ground all the way. Nepenthe a bit rank into the turn. On the outside, Moon Queen moves up into 4th. Nepenthe still tossing her head about in 5th position. Followed on the outside now by Sulk, and then Mo Juste, who's beginning to move steadily on the outside of Sunstone. Peanut Gallery's in behind those two. Wooty is toiling at the back of the pack. No response there from Wooty as Dale Beckner tries to motivate her, and alongside is Uriah. The field moving into the far turn, and it's now Rum who takes charge. Rum in front. And Sulk is now 2nd, and Sulk is bidding for the lead. Mo Juste on the outside, then Sunstone. Forest Princess led throughout, but is dropping back in the field, now being passed by Nepenthe. In the meantime, from the back of the pack, Uriah launching her bid. She's moving strongly, and the field turns for home now. Less than 2 furlongs to go. Rum down inside, Sulk right there. Then Mo Juste, Sunstone on the far outside. Farther back, Uriah down the middle of the track. 1 furlong to go now. Rum, Sulk, Mo Juste, Sunstone. Uriah continues to close ground. Uriah slicing away through on the inside. Sunstone has come away to get a short lead. Uriah continues to close on the rail, and it's a photo finish. After 1.5 miles, it'll be 1.5 inches either way between late-running Uriah and Sunstone, who tried to hold on. Close for 3rd as well.
Uriah, and you didn't know where she was coming up to the top of the stretch. She was dead last at the top of the stretch, making up a lot of ground. Norberto Arroyo, a very cagey ride to duck inside as Sean Bridgmahan, who had gotten Sunstone to the top, assumed he had Mo Juste beaten and did not even realize that Norberto was making that big move down inside. As soon as he got Sunstone back into gear, he made up about 1/2 length in a couple of strides, but did fall short by a nose in the photo. Mo Juste holds on for the 3rd spot after getting her head in front. Unable to sustain, however, and ends up having to settle for the 3rd spot. The winner, Uriah, is a German-bred 3-year-old bay filly. She came to the United States for this event. The connections, Gary Tanaka, owner of this horse, and Haro Remmert, the trainer, brought a horse over a couple of years ago named Moon Lady to win this race in off-the-turf conditions. Here they did remain on a soft turf course. Uriah, a 3-year-old daughter of Akatanango from Ulanawa by Camiros, was bred by Jay Schoenwalder in Germany, owned by Gary Tanaka, trained by Haro Remmert, and ridden to victory by Norberto Arroyo Jr. Uriah covers the 1.5 miles in a rather slow, and remind you, it is a very soft turf course, and a very leisurely 2:42 and 2. Next, we're going to head back to sprinting in a little bit quicker pace with the Huntington on Sunday. Again, contested on a very wet racetrack, $75,000 for 2-year-old sprinters. Let's head to New York now for the running of the Huntington.
And they're off. First Blush breaks first. Gators and Bears is hustled out of there under a drive in the first 50 yards, but nonetheless, it's Buzzy's Gold who's come through to take the lead. Buzzy's Gold in front, Superfuse is second. First Blush in between horses, followed by Second in Command, then down toward the inside, Conservation. American Man on the outside. Then there's a break of another 3, back to Dr. Walsh, and a break of another 7 lengths. Gators and Bears, who was first in the early going, is now dropped out of it completely. Around the far turn, Buzzy's Gold, First Blush, Superfuse across the track. Together they've gone a quarter in 22 seconds flat, with American Man not far behind. Conservation and Second in Command, another 4 to Dr. Walsh. Coming to the top of the stretch, and Superfuse. Superfuse comes away with the lead as the field turns for home. Superfuse in front. First Blush is second. Buzzy's Gold down toward the inside. American Man still in with a fighting chance. He's fourth with 1 furlong to go. Farther back, Conservation is fifth. Superfuse pulling away. Superfuse by 5. As American Man moves into second, they're coming down to the finish. And Superfuse loved the slop here, winning by 3 on the line. American Man finished second, very close for third. Close for third between First Blush and Conservation.
Superfuse ships up from Florida, picks up a nice victory. This horse obviously handles sprinting very, very well. Has only suffered 1 career defeat. He has been very consistent down in Florida. Ships up, handled the shipping, handled the wet track beautifully, and picks up a 3+ length victory on the pace every step of the way. American Man did have some trouble handling the racetrack up the backstretch, did make a 4-wide move under Jerry Bailey as the heavy favorite at odds on. First Blush also involved in the pace. Very solid effort by this horse, making his first start in winning company against some pretty nice sprinters and doing fairly well to pick up the 3rd spot. In the field. The winner, Superfuse, is a 2-year-old chestnut colt, the son of Light the Fuse from Seasons Flair by D'Accord. He was bred by Adena Springs Farm in Kentucky, owned by Chris Thomas Ulrich and trained by Richard Sardulo. Ridden to victory by Carlos Gonzalez, who comes up for the mount and makes his trip worthwhile with the $75,000 stakes victory. Superfuse covers the 6 furlongs on a very wet racetrack at the Big A in 1:10-2. That wraps up an unfortunately very sloppy version of Horses and Courses, having to travel as far as the far west in order to find some dry racing. Nonetheless, we hope next week will be a little bit better in terms of track conditions. Thank you everyone for joining me this week, and we hope we'll see you back here next time for Horses and Courses.